Welcome to the last day of November, November 30th, 2022. Your Day Weather Podcast brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. They have more original Wyoming news content than anybody else. Check them out at cowboystatedaily.com. Also brought to you by WYDOT. When there's ice and snow, take it slow. And don't forget to sign up for the Wyoming Travel Authorization Program. Check more out at the website listed below. As we take a look at today, we're still going to be cold, going to be chilly. We're still going to be in that cold air mass that came in behind that Arctic front and the snow. But we do see Pacific air giving us a little bit of a chinook, a little bit of a warm-up Thursday into early Friday. Still going to have areas of blowing snow today, especially along higher elevations of Interstate 80. So travelers, you need to allow some extra time if you're going over a mountain pass or going through those wind gap areas in parts of the west where the wind will be picking up and blowing some of that snow. Milder Pacific air comes in Thursday and Friday, but with that Pacific air is Pacific moisture. There's actually going to be a very quick moving Pacific front late Thursday into Friday that'll bring more snow to the Pacific Northwest, rain and snow to California. The northern and central mountains of the Rockies will see some snow with a little bit of snow shower activity on the plains. This is mainly going to be a mountain event, and for the western valleys, there is going to be some snow moving in Thursday night into Friday. You get east of the divide, we're down to just snow showers and wind, but along the mountains and west of the divide is where the moisture will be. Then we're going to have a fairly quiet weekend as it looks right now. Another shot of cold and maybe some snow will be arriving early next week again. But as we take a look at the forecast, once we go out to 5 days, it gets a little bit muddy in terms of what will happen. And so it's going to be an active pattern. Beware 10-day forecasts, especially this time of year. A lot of your apps on your phones will give you forecasts out to 10 to 15 days. Just really don't go past 5 days if you really want to have any consistency in your weather forecast. And I'll kind of show you why we say that when we take a look at the long-term pattern. Today's satellite photo shows the Arctic front that came through here is all the way here. This is what caused the severe weather outbreak in the south central areas of the United States yesterday and last night. Now rain and thunderstorms headed towards the east coast. Very chilly air coming in behind it for the central United States, while we have a little bit of a break in the weather here. And you can see that. Here is where the cold air is going to be directed this way today. So we're still going to be in the cold air behind it, but you see that westerly flow coming on in. It'll still be chilly today where there's snow cover, especially the heavier snow cover right here. Temperatures are going to still be a little bit colder than the 30-year average. The wind is again going to be a problem today. You can see the wind right along the divide, right along the Laramie Range, Snowy Range areas here, the gap areas through Casper, South Pass. So if traveling along Interstate 80, watch out for areas of blowing and drifting snow and over the higher mountain passes of Colorado as well. As we go into Thursday, there's that Pacific moisture and milder air coming in. The moisture will be coming into Washington, Oregon, central and northern California with this front, and it's going to be a really quick mover. But there will be a period of time where it will warm up Thursday into Friday because of that change in the airflow from coming out of Canada to coming off the west coast. But there's that wave coming through. This is by 11 a.m. Mountain Time on Friday. So you can see how quickly that little system goes. Boom, really quick. This is the type of pattern that will make it snow very fast and hard very quickly in the mountains. So another good shot of snow going to get laid down on the ski slopes with this pattern just in time for the weekend. And there you can see the moisture. Nice rain and snow going into California, into the coastal areas of Washington and Oregon. Then you get east of the mountains there, you get a little bit of a snow and rain shadow, but you're still going to see some good snows in the higher elevations right here Thursday night during the day Friday. Now out in the deeper cold air that resides up into the northern plains, you're going to see some light to moderate snows across Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, into southern Canada there, into Minnesota. But this is a downslope area right here east of the divide where you're not going to get much. And then that's the snow that falls from Thursday late through Saturday morning. So you can see the northwest part of the United States going to get another nice good shot of snow. Behind that front, temperatures are a little on the cold side, not terribly cold, but you can see most of the west will see below average temperatures as we head on into Saturday and Sunday. Then we take a look at what happens early next week. I put this map in motion for you to show you a couple of things. This is from Sunday morning through Wednesday morning of next week. I want you to kind of notice this area right here, and notice it does what we call retrograding. The vortex of cold air up in Canada actually drifts this way as we get into late Sunday night into Monday and Tuesday. So what that'll do is that'll push some colder air westward back towards the northern and central Rockies and the northern plains, while this guy right here, that low, is going to be spreading more moisture into the Pacific Northwest and kind of feeding moisture into that Canadian air. So this is where early next week we may see some mountain snow again, colder temperatures on the plains as you see this kind of wobbling. And I'm going to show you another animated image here in a moment that's going to show you a little bit more what happens over possibly the next 15 days. But you can see there's another intrusion of a wave coming out of the Gulf of Alaska, kind of coming over the ridge and coming towards the western United States again. So there's a lot of moving parts. And you can really see this over the 15-day period. This is from the European model. So this is looking for the whole northern hemisphere. So this goes all the way out to the middle parts of November here, December rather. This goes all the way out to December 15th. Kind of focus in at the beginning of this loop right here, and you can see that vortex wobbling, going west and kind of breaking apart. Also, I want you to notice that the number of waves really increases as we go out to further into that 10 to 15 day period. And what you see is a kind of a consistent pattern of where the coldest air is, but you also see it kind of moving back and forth. But what I'm seeing here is the number of waves is lower, getting higher as we get into the middle part of December. And what that means is we're going to have a lot of variability in the weather forecast. That's why a 10-day forecast is pretty much worthless. Also of note, I want you to watch Greenland and the North Atlantic. This area right here shows a persistent area that more often than not is showing some ridging. You can see the orange, more red colors there. That is a blocking pattern. We also have a rather persistent pattern that is a little bit further out here in the eastern Pacific that at times is sort of like the Gulf of Alaska, where you have a ridge coming in very often. And so we continue to see a pattern which continues to show us cold signals when we look at a 15-day forecast like this. But again, as I just told you, you got to take it with a grain of salt. But what I see here is a high probability that your 5-day forecast is going to be a moving target. The Arctic Oscillation, another indication of cold air coming out of the polar areas and wanting to be further south in latitude, continues to strongly be negative through December 15th. The Eastern Pacific Oscillation generally is quite negative, then stays near or below that negative line. So is the North Atlantic Oscillation, and so is the Pacific North American Oscillation, generally negative through the next 15 days. So it's going to be a busy start to December. Have yourself a good Wednesday.